As we've been reporting all morning, the Army Corps of Engineers, still trying to elevate that underwater barrier, that sill, to try and delay or slow down the progression of the saltwater wedge that's moving up the Mississippi River right now. For now, though, the agency released a new timeline showing when the saltwater will reach certain areas. It shows progression in Jefferson Parish by the end of October, but that doesn't mean that the water supply will automatically become unsafe to use. It will be tested first and tested often. This morning we're being joined by Councilman at Large Scott Walker to talk about some of the mitigation efforts Jefferson is working on. We talked with Parish President Cynthia Lee Shang yesterday, and she was saying people shouldn't panic because this is slow moving. I mean, we have plenty of time to look at what's happened, and hopefully they can slow it down a bit.
Yeah, good morning, Eric. Thanks for having me. I think the biggest question right now is that there are a lot of unknowns here. We just don't know, and luckily we have about a month before it affects any part of Jefferson Parish to see how these mitigation measures that are being put in place, how much of an effect they'll actually have. And that's what we have to wait and see. We feel like we'll be impacted in some way, shape, or form in the next month, but how much is the big question right now.
And we were talking with St. Bernard Parish President Guy McGinnis. They'll feel it before Jefferson and Orleans. And it does sound very ominous, but as you said, there are still a lot of unknowns about this.
Just stories that I've read in the past couple of days show some experts saying, yes, it'll be okay to use your washer. Yes, it'll be okay to use your dishwasher. Yes, it'll be okay to do this. Others say, no, we could see a catastrophic failure with your appliances if you run salt water through it. So I think it all depends on how much salt water is hitting our intake, and how much it's really going to affect depends on that. Like, where is it coming in? How much is it coming in? And if there's a little bit, it feels like we can handle it to a certain extent if it's diluted coming in. But if it's to that extreme measure, then we may have some issues. And I think really nobody knows, because who's run salt water through their dishwashers and washing machines?
No, and that's true. And other parts of the world do take the salt out of salt water. They desalinize it. And they do use it for drinking and appliances, things like that. And they're talking about bringing in some reverse osmosis machines, things like that. Is that something Jefferson's looking at?
I know the parish president has mentioned this, and it's something that I think we looked at and then looked past it because our system is just too big. It really just, it can do, I believe, up to 100,000 gallons or something like that a day. And we have many more millions of gallons than that. So the mitigation measures sound good on the surface, but how much will things like that actually help us when push comes to shove? And that's what we need to kind of wait and see. Like, if you can dilute it a little bit based on what we're going to get, is that going to be enough to make it somewhat normal and still drinkable, or at least usable to where it's not going to eventually corrode pipes or something like that? That's what we don't know yet.
And how often are you all meeting on this, and how often is Jefferson testing the water just to make sure nothing has actually come up by your, when you have 3 intakes in Jefferson, right?
Yeah, and the water's tested daily. So we know every day what our water looks like, regardless of what's happening with saltwater intrusion. So that happens daily, and right now it's strong. It's important to emphasize that our water in Jefferson Parish is safe. We've met on this a couple of times already. We have a council meeting today at 10 o'clock, and the parish president will certainly address that in her opening remarks at the council meeting. But we've tried to push this message out as much as possible. Don't panic buy water. There is no water shortage in Jefferson Parish or in the area. It's not like a hurricane where supplies are in short supply.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to get water here if we need it, and it'll be in a plentiful supply. But when you go to the grocery, if you need to buy, if you normally buy a case of water, buy 2 cases and just have some on hand just in case. But it's going to be a situation where we're going to have plenty of water in the area.
Yeah, it's a thing to have common sense on and not anything to panic about. Scott, we appreciate you coming on this morning and giving us an update for Jefferson folks.
Thanks, Eric. And again, more information at 10 o'clock at our council meeting today. Have a good one.
Thank you very much.